a shed update, and we're going to talk about 3D printing. Now, this is my views on it. Now, it's nothing derogatory, so I don't want anyone banging on the keyboard, you know, telling me. Question I asked in private with a few other modelers and everything, and I wrote it down. Is it killing the hobby? And the answer is yes and no. Yes, and what I mean by yes, that is the traditional ways of producing a kit is going to the way of a 3D printer. I'll show everyone that in a moment. One thing is, a lot of people know that yours truly here at BHP HQ, aka the art, I do a lot of conversion kits. I've done a lot of conversions for myself and sold that way. I've done conversions for other people. This one's a scar I did for the wherever it's at, the Mobius Cylon Raider, which I sold a bunch of those. But one thing I got to say is my sales were actually cut in half due to basically 3D printing, but it's due to Shapeways. Shapeways, you know, why buy a resin kit really when you can go buy a 3D printed, which I mean, it's top-notch work. I ain't dogging that at all, but you know, some of the aftermarket people, it's I noticed it's affected that you know, making kits. And one of them I know for sure is and I don't have any 3D printed busts, but this is a this is an old I want to say Warriors or Linden bust, but anyway, for an example, people who sculpt bust traditionally with clay and make a mold and everything, you can 3D print the you know, bust out, and I notice and I've been told that they've been selling out that way, which it's kind of so speaking of figures, now, you know, Mr. Ladotti here, he still does it the traditional way. A lot of the Mobius kits, Jeff Yeager, he you know, sculpts the traditional way, and they still make kits that way with the traditional sculpts. But for example, figure-wise, Wonder Woman here is done by Alteron Bazaar. That's a 3D printed model kit. I mean, also starships. I know Mobius did the 3D printed of the Franklin, and then there are other the ships that are coming out are also 3D printed. One thing that's traditional, and do I have one? Yeah. That one was made old school way, you know, putty, wood, you know, sanded to shape. So was the refit. I know the NX same way, you know, just that was the old school modeling before they went back into, you know, that was basically 3D printed, you know, with CAD drawing and all that. But anyway, I understand. I ain't dogging it. You know, it's just easier to do it with the computers and do it tooling and all that. But anyway, that's just something that I always like to mention. I ain't dogging the computer stuff because, you know, that's just the way the hobby is shifting towards, you know, 3D printers and, you know, now, you know, really just going not going the way of the wayside, but you know, just you can tell it's shifting. I know a lot of kit producers are going to computers. I know people that make bases are going to that direction as well. But anyway, I like, of course, I like doing it the old school way. So you'll see a lot of that. If I ever get a 3D printer, it will be probably a little kid one, and you know, do something very small, because I ain't going upstairs, but y'all can see the figure deal. I actually own 3D printed figures. I bought the masters off Bam Bam Productions, and you know, people are doing 3D printed figures, and I assume Masterbox up there is doing the same thing, you know, when they make their figure kits. But anyway, other than that, you know, it's I always like to look. I like to look at the evolution of the hobby, and who knows? We got, you know, Mattel vacuum form. We may have to get a 3D printer inside the Ark here as well, just to have a little, you know, old school, new school type of thing. But anyway, that's what I've got going on today. That's a quick update. Wanted to touch on 3D printing. But anyway, other than that, we'll probably have some more little discussions like that occasionally, and of course, we'll always have our standard shed updates. So that's what I got going on today, so stay tuned for the next exciting episode.